August 4, 1990 on page 2. The session, and this is referring to the 55th General Conference session in 1990, the session has demonstrated the hierarchical nature of the church's administrative structure. And again, Neil C. Wilson states, the Seventh-day Adventist Church maintains a hierarchical structure of church authority. Now, this statement was taken under oath in the court transcript of the United States Secretary of Labor versus the Pacific Union Conference and the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, case number CV 75-3032-R, and was presided over by Judge Manuel L. Rial in February 6, 1976. So we see that all denominations, including the Seventh-day Adventist Church, make up Babylon the Great and are no longer part of God's true movement or true church. And now we come to section number 3. How is this message to be given? So how is this message to be given? No one can give this last message of mercy if they are unwilling to plainly call others out of a harlot, Babylon, fallen church. God did not use the word Babylon in this last message of mercy to have it reasoned away as being too blunt for sensitive ears to hear. God purposely has put the word Babylon into this last message of mercy for a good reason, so that it could be wisely but boldly given, and thus all may awaken at its sharp sound and then begin to inquire, are these things really so? Yet some will declare that if you just leave the B word out of the message, that more people will be converted. But what does inspiration declare as to how this message of Revelation 18 is to be given? We're told in the book Evangelism on page 230, Satan has devised a state of things whereby the proclamation of the third angel's message shall be bound about. We must beware of his plans and methods. There must be no toning down of the truth, no muffling of the message for this time. The third angel's message must be strengthened and confirmed. The 18th chapter of Revelation reveals the importance of presenting the truth in no measured terms, but with boldness and power. There has been too much beating about the bush in the proclamation of the third angel's message. The message has not been given as clearly and distinctly as it should have been. So how did God state that this message of Revelation 18 is to be given? He plainly declares that it is to be given in no measured terms, no beating about the bush, not with toned down or with muffled words, but with boldness and power. But why? We're told in Evangelism on page 230, our message is a life and death message, and we must let this message appear as it is, the great power of God. Then the Lord will make it effectual. We are to present it in all its telling force. So are we to be afraid of publicly declaring this truth that God has given us for this time? Are we to be afraid to publicly declare to the members of the various apostate churches that their harlot church is Babylon fallen and that they will be destroyed if they remain a part of it? Not at all. Yet it is also true that we must proclaim this powerful message with wisdom and discernment. But there will always be those who will offer every excuse that they can think of to avoid publicly declaring the harlot church to be Babylon fallen until some indefinite time in the future. And there will be others who will themselves believe that the church is part of Babylon fallen, but who will counsel all of God's people to delay in using the Babylon word until a more appropriate time is found in the future. And there will be still others who will urge that a different word should be used other than Babylon, so that it will be more readily acceptable by more people. And there will be still others who will urge that the Babylon word itself is not to be publicly used, but just carefully lead the people to come to that same conclusion by themselves in their own study. But friends, if no one is ever to publicly declare that the harlot churches are Babylon fallen, or only use the B word after all have already been convinced that their church is indeed part of Babylon fallen, then this following testimony is a lie. We're told in Spirit of Prophecy, Volume 4, page 424, and this is found in Great Controversy, page 606 and 607. And please listen closely. The sins of Babylon will be laid open. Thousands upon thousands have never listened to words like these. In amazement, they hear the testimony that Babylon is the church, fallen because of her errors and sins, because of her rejection of the truth sent to her from heaven. The people go to their former teachers with an eager inquiry, "Are these things so?" Since this inspired testimony is not wrong, then it clearly shows to all of us that multitudes will hear in amazement that their church is part of Babylon fallen, and then they begin to inquire, "Are these things really true?" Now, in this testimony, it was the hearing of the Babylon message that got the people to investigate into this truth. And it was not their investigation prior to that led them to understand that their church was Babylon. As this is true, who are we to declare in our own fallible human reasoning that no one is to publicly preach this Babylonian message, that no one is to use the word Babylon in their declaration until we think it is appropriate for them to do so? None of us are God. Then shouldn't we give God leeway to impress His own servants as to when the time is appropriate and how to give the message at any particular time? Surely God knows better than any of us when the Babylon message should be preached to any particular group at any particular time. But there is a difference between brethren as to the timing of this message. So I urge you to please listen closely to what God says in this difference between brethren regarding the issue of the timing of when to proclaim testing truth to the people. This is found in Evangelism, page 228 and 229. Caution is needed, but while some of the workers are guarded and make haste slowly, if there are not united with them in the work those who see the necessity of being aggressive, very much will be lost. Opportunities will pass, and the opening providence of God will not be discerned. So may we all clearly understand that in this Revelation 18 movement, we are not the ones who control the work according to our own ideas and opinions. We are not the ones to control it. But this movement is under the control of the Holy Spirit, and God will lead and use all of His servants to do His will and to say His words at any given time He impresses. We're told in Testimony to Ministers on page 300, "Let me tell you that the Lord will work in this last work in a manner very much out of the common order of things, and in a way that will be contrary to any human planning. There will be those among us who will always want to control the work of God, to dictate even what movement shall be made when the work goes forward under the direction of the angel who joins the third angel in the message to be given to the world. God will use ways and means by which it will be seen that He is taking the reins in His own hands." Now please let us also understand this important point. God desires everyone in this movement of Revelation 18 to be united with Him and with each other in order to finish the work. As such, God has designed that it is this very message of Revelation 18 that His people are to unite together in. We're told in Spiritual Gifts, Volume 1, page 193 and 194. Great power and glory were imparted to the angel, and as he descended, the earth was lightened with his glory. The work of this angel comes in at the right time and joins in the last great work of the third angel's message as it swells into a loud cry. And the people of God are fitted up everywhere to stand in the hour of temptation which they are soon to meet. Now listen closely. I saw a great light resting upon them, and they united in the message, and fearlessly proclaimed with great power the third angel's message. The glory of God rested upon the patient waiting saints, and they fearlessly gave the last solemn warning, proclaiming the fall of Babylon, and calling upon God's people to come out of her that they might escape her fearful doom. So we are to unite together in the message of Revelation 18. And this is the reason why there is no lasting unity seen among those who oppose this message or among those who do not believe that it is yet to be preached, because it is only in this message of Revelation 18 that God has designed unity to be achieved in. So now the question is, will you unite with the rest of us in proclaiming this message of Revelation 18? Will you join us in this movement and unite together with us in this message? Will you give the trumpet note a certain sound, a certain loud, clear, unmuffled sound? I pray that you will. In Review and Herald, December 9, 1902, this is Volume 4, page 472. The trumpet is to give a certain sound. Clearly and distinctly the warning is to ring out, Babylon the great is fallen. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Now this brings us to Part 2 and to Section 4. When is this message to be given?